of the many innovations that the Global Fund, has introduced, one is certainly also the creation of Friends of the Global Fund organizations in Japan, US, and in Europe in particular, because they brought something unique that was not there before. You had governments that were providing funds to the Global Fund. You had civil society advocates, but you did not have a very good link between the governments, the civil society, and leaders in those countries that were willing to kind of advocate for this new instrument, coming from politics, but also sitting in parliaments, making decisions about budgets. And if you compare that to the current COVID response, my impression is that the fundraising, for example, for COVAX, relies mainly on occasional appeals, to heads of states at the G7 or at special summits. But it is isolated events. It is a kind of just a moral appeal. You should give more to COVAX, and then these leaders decide or they don't decide. It's not a process that kind of, brings, to the decision-making process also the parliaments, the advocates in these countries, the people who make decisions in the ministries, because they are not just heads of states. You need the ministers, you need the parliamentary secretaries, you need the kind of civil servants that play a very, very important role in all these ministries. And I think what Friends has managed to bring is to connect all that in a kind of continuous process. And then at the time of the replenishments every 3 years, the Global Fund was ready to kind of have all these contacts in place, to have the decision-making processes in place that could then lead to pledges at a replenishment conference. And now we have, every couple of months, we have, appeals to, head of state and government. But an appeal is not the same as a kind of systematic process, so that decision makers at the end can make decisions and make commitments and pledges that are backed up by budgetary decisions in parliaments and budgetary committees and in the respective line ministries.